words of Paul, does that encourage us at all? Someone has said that more than 20 fouls are committed in an average basketball game. And sometimes those fouls are seen as flagrant fouls, like the biggies. And you know, mankind and the Word of God sees sins that way sometimes. Many of those sins are committed every day. We hear many of them in our local news, don't we? Murder, rape, drug addiction, adultery, on and on. Flagrant sins, maybe we could call them. And there are those that engage in that kind of sinning that we might call flagrant sins. But you know that this grace is so great that grace is available for flagrant sinners. You know, in the first century, we don't read of Las Vegas or San Francisco or the Big Easy, but we do read of Corinth, don't we? Its citizens were widely known for immorality, for licentious kind of living, ungodliness. And back in the 1 Corinthian letter, chapter 2 and verse 3, we see where Paul even trembled at evangelizing such a city. What did he say? Do you remember? He said, I was with you in weakness and in much fear, in trembling. My speech and my preaching were not with persuasive words of worldly wisdom, but they demonstrated the Spirit in power. He was with them in much trembling. That wouldn't have been an easy place to evangelize. You know, and it seems like it's getting harder and harder to evangelize in our society. A lot of reasons why would have to be because, at least headed by the fact that there's a lot of flagrant sinning going around. Well, you know, the Apostle Paul was a flagrant sinner before he found the grace of God. Does this encourage you? It does me. You know, it's interesting that the Apostle Paul, when he was coming to Christ, nobody really felt a warm fuzzy about going to him to convert him. Because we know his background, don't we? He was committing a bunch of flagrant sins. And you know, many of the characters in the Word of God that we read about committed flagrant sins. But there was ample grace for all of them. And what is interesting, since we do read of